Hey guys, it's Zero here. I've been going for a couple of days. My PC actually crashed, so I didn't have the chance to upload any videos since Christmas. I know they dropped more gameplay. It's the same characters from the last gameplay we have, so I don't know if I'm gonna go over that or not. There's not too much more I can say, but today I did want to cover, because there is about 10, 11 weeks until the game comes out. I want to go over who I think the last 10 characters in Bleach Rebirth of Souls is going to be. I never did a roster prediction video, but now we have like 22, 23 characters out. So I just want to go over pretty much who I believe the last 10 are going to be. And we'll start with the first one. So, if you guys can see, I have Starrk here. I think there is a 0% chance that he won't be in the game. He has to be in the game. It's the strongest Espada. His gameplay would just be insane. And he's cool as fuck. Like, look at him, man. Coyote is so fucking cool, bro. It's like, and you can just imagine he'd be like a crazy zoner, right? Like, Coyote Starrk is 100% going to be in the game, I believe. I believe there's no way he's not. If he winds up not being in the game, I would be extremely disappointed. And it's like, how you not have the strongest Espada in the game, and you're going all the way up into the fake hardcore talent arc. And it just wouldn't make sense. But I believe he'll be in the game, and hopefully he's revealed soon, along with some of these other characters. I believe they're taking Monday off. There isn't going to be a character trailer for Monday, so hopefully we start getting some of these characters the Monday after that. I think it's January 6th. Now, since we are talking about Starrk, we also have to talk about Shunsui. I believe Shunsui is also a damn near guarantee. I mean, these characters have major fights in the fake hardcore talent arc, right? So there is no way that Shunsui's left off. I don't believe he'll be DLC. I think he's going to be one of the base roster characters. It's just so much that they can do off of his moveset, right? So yeah, that's my number 2. It'll be interesting how they do his awakening, because of course they aren't going to do his Bankai. But it'll be cool to see how he plays with the dual-wielded swords and the shadows. I think that's going to be... There's a lot of opportunity for him to do like a really cool mechanic with Shunsui. Alright, so the third character that I believe will be also on the base roster, of course, is Harribel. The third rank Espada. I feel like there's a really good chance. I'm not going to say 100%, but I feel pretty good about her being in the game. She's also in one of the major fights in the fake hardcore town. And you may see a theme with this. Pretty much anyone who had major fights, I believe, is going to be playable. There are going to be some characters that I believe won't make the roster, but we'll get to that later. But I believe there's so much they can do with Harribel. It's just like with her water and her awakening, like I feel like they could do a lot. I mean, the fight with Toshiro wasn't the best, I don't believe, but I feel like she'd be really cool in the game. Alright, so next up, we have probably one of the characters that I'm most interested in seeing playing, and that is Barragan. I feel like in this game, he is one of the characters that they can really get creative with, just with his resurrection. He's able to pretty much control time and rot anything around him itself, right? So I believe like in his base form, he's probably going to use like a lot of his axe, and they may have to reach to get some moves because he didn't do a lot in his base form. He went into his resurrection pretty quickly. But once he's in that resurrection, I could see them doing some kind of like AoE, where if you get close to him, you take damage or something like that. But it'll be really interesting to see how he plays. Now, I do feel like this is another character that they would be really tripping if he's not in the game. Like I feel like there's like a 95% chance of him being in the game. Same as like Starrk or Shunsui or Harribel. I believe all those characters are like 90, 95, 100% chance of them making the game. And then on top of that, he's really fucking cool, dude. His resurrection form is probably my favorite outside of Ukiyora's. Just a big skeleton with a fucking crown on it. It's like, how do you beat that, right? But Barragan, so we got Barragan, Stark, and Harribel all making it, I believe. All right, so fifth on the list of characters that I expect to be in the game is Sajin Komamura. He had plenty of major fights before the end of the Fake Karakura Town. Definitely had his fight with Tosin's one of the bigger fights, along with their backstory. It's kind of hard for me to see him not being in the game with his backstory with Tosin being as important as it is, right? Now, I believe he is going to be one of the more unique characters. I could see him kind of being like a Renji, right? Whenever he goes into his awakening. It'll be interesting to see how they do it because he's like another one of the, once he enters his Bankai, he's like another one of the giant characters, right? Like, so seeing how they're going to incorporate that into the game is going to be really interesting because you get to see how they did Renji's, and I think that was pretty cool. So if they do something similar with Sajin, I could see that being really nice. Just with him, like I said before, any of the major fights is kind of hard for me to see those characters not being in the game just because of how good the story mode is looking. So I doubt they're going to be skipping any of the big fights in the story mode from what we can tell so far. It's just going to be really interesting to see how he plays, and honestly, I can't wait to see it. Probably not a character that I'll play. I'm not really into like giant type characters. I know Renji's definitely not going to be one of the characters I play, but it's going to be nice to see him in the game. Just this style of character, right? But I feel like his likelihood of being in the game is a little lower than the previous characters that I have mentioned. Like I said, the other characters I mentioned before, I believe 90, 95% they're going to be in the game. If I had to give Sajin a percentage, I'd say there's about a 70% chance that he's going to be in the base game. I believe he's going to be there, but if he isn't, it wouldn't be like a complete shock. It's just I highly believe he will be. All right, so the next character that I believe will make it into the game is another Espada, Noitra. He had a really big fight versus Kimpachi that I have playing in the background now. And just his backstory with Nail, I believe it's going to be hard for them not to include him in the story mode, which means I believe he will be playable. I'm not saying that I believe every character that they have in the story mode is going to be playable, because I believe there are some that will be story mode exclusive. But with Noitra being the way he is, just his fighting style, I feel like we'd be missing out if they did not include him in the game. Another type of character that I'll probably play similar to someone like Kenpachi or something like that, more of a tanky, do a lot of damage type character with not great mobility. Um, just seeing him in game, it's hard for me not to see him in game. If we do truly get 10 more characters, which we are about 10 weeks out from the release of the game, it's hard for me to see them not putting him in. Then again, if he's not there, I wouldn't be like completely disappointed or surprised. I'd probably put him similar to Komamura, around that 70-75% range of being in the game. I believe he's more likely and not going to be in the game, but we'll have to wait and see. Um, his resurrection and pretty much the way he fights, I don't think it'll be too hard to pretty much incorporate that into the game. It was more so like a really straightforward Espada, right? Yeah, really, really cool weapon. But his fight style was more or less straightforward when he wasn't doing sneaky underhanded shit. All right, so next on the list is going to be Szayelaporro. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He was the eighth Espada and pretty much the researcher for the Espada. Pretty much the Espada is my Yuri. I believe he's. I'm gonna give him about 70% chance to be in the game. His playstyle could be really interesting because before he went into his resurrection, he could like manipulate traps inside of the building he was in. He also was able to nullify Renji's Bankai, I believe, before he went into Resurrection. And then when he went into Resurrection, he could pretty much make these dolls and like destroy organs of whoever he was fighting. So it'd be interesting to see how they do that in the game. So like he's about to do it now, right? He's about to make my Yuri doll, but of course it isn't going to work because it's my Yuri. But I think there's a good chance he's in the game, but we'll see. All right, so the next character that I believe is going to be in the game is Hisagi. He had a few appearances in the original series, and I believe they fleshed him out enough that they can make a pretty decent character out of him. I feel like he did enough before his Bankai to warrant him being in the game. Like he uses the Bakudo and like the flash bomb on him in the beginning of this fight, and then his Bankai is just. I mean, I feel like that would be incredibly cool to play with. Just like chains, just seeing how they'd incorporate that weapon into the game. I imagine it'd probably be something like Renji with like a longer range. Um, you never really know. All right, for our next character, I'm gonna say it's gonna be Ikkaku. Um, I feel like he had a lot of screen time in this part of Bleach, and he also had this fight against that art. And I believe they can make his mechanics really cool. So before he enters his Bankai, he fights with his Zanpakuto and he fights with the Sheath. So I feel like that would be really cool to include in his moveset. And then once he enters his Bankai, it completely changes to this that you're seeing now. So seeing how they're going to have him play once he enters his Bankai, I think will be really interesting. I feel like this is one of the characters that can make really deep. So basically, the red dragon on top of his Zanpakuto is it pretty much charging up, and it takes time to charge. And seeing that we already have characters with gauges like Toshiro and Grimjow, I believe he's probably going to be another character with some kind of gauge just because of this year, right? But I believe I'll give him like a 40 to 50% chance. I say 50% chance that he's in the game. Same with Hisagi, right? All right. And for the final character, I believe will be in the game is Yumichika. I believe he had a lot of screen time, and he's just I think he's a really cool character. His Shikai is pretty cool. It allows him to steal the spiritual pressure of his opponent. So it'll be cool to see how they include that in the game. I hope it literally is you do a move and take spiritual pressure away from an opponent and even can gain it back for yourself. I feel like that would be really unique. Like these last three characters, Hisagi, Ikkaku, and Yumichika, I feel like can have really interesting playing styles and each be extremely different. They are the characters that I'm least sure about being in the game, though. I'd say anywhere from 30 to 50% for each one. And again, this is all my opinion. Like, I have no idea who's coming out. This is just who I want in the game and what I think their likelihood is in the game, right? I'm gonna be honest. I finished the 10 and completely forgot about Yammy. I think Yammy's also gonna be in the game. He just had too many fights with too many different people for him not to be in the game. I honestly can't believe I forgot him, but who really likes Yammy, you know? But I think Yami has a good probability of being in the game. So I guess the list is going to be 11 now instead of 10. Um, but that's the thing. It's only like there may be 11, 10 or 11 weeks left before the game comes out, and they're doing one character a week. So unless they start dropping multiple character trailers in a week, um, it's going to be interesting to see who's not getting into the game. Because if they keep on the pace that they're going of one a week, someone's not going to make it, you know. But I think Yami has a good chance to be in the game. Him being in the game, if they put Komamura in the game and then with Renji in the game, it's going to be like a good selection of giant characters if you want to go that route with him, Komamura, and Renji. But that'll be it for the rankings. All right, so I will put in a couple honorable mentions. There's no way to really know how many characters are going to be in the game, right? So I'm just saying 10, but it could be another 15 characters, and then there's 5 characters I didn't include, right? Again, this is all my opinion. This is who I'd like to see in the game, characters that I think would be interesting in the game. Honorable mentions, I'd probably say Momo. I know a lot of people are expecting Momo. They've seen her in the story mode, but if they aren't on this website, they are not confirmed playable characters. Anytime Bleach Rebirth of Souls drops a confirmed character, they also drop a basically profile form on their website. So if they aren't on here, they aren't confirmed yet, right? So Momo, I think, could be an interesting fit in the game. And everybody wants Orihime. I don't see how they could add her in the game. I know she's in the story mode, same as Momo, but that doesn't mean they're confirmed, right? It's just Orihime didn't really have any major fights in the anime, right? Like, she didn't have any big fights past like Soul Society arc. And I mean, even then, she's more of like a support character. I believe those two would be honorable mentions. I could see them putting them in the game, but with a character pool that looks like it's going to be about 30 to 40 characters, like they're going to have to make some cuts somewhere. And I feel like adding one of those two over one of the 10 that I just named, I would rather play one of the 10 I just named. Honestly, I'd rather play Hisagi than Orihime or Momo or Ikkaku, right? I just think they'd be funner characters. But that's all for me, guys. I'm out. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow the channel, and I'll be back with some more content soon. Thank you.